and welcome to episode 1, TerrorVision Horror Podcast. My name is Dan McGuinness, the Limb Collector, and I have my co-host here, Jennifer, the Dream Warrior Strand.
Hello.
How are you going?
Oh, pretty good for a Monday.
So we're two people with the only credentials we've got is blood, gore, and an obsolete Blockbuster membership. And we just want to talk crap about horror and have fun doing it, basically, don't we, Jen?
Yes, please. So much fun.
So, I guess because this is the first episode, we should kind of introduce ourselves. So my name is Dan McGuinness, as I said, or you can call me the Limb Collector from my obsession with chopping off limbs in horror video games. I am the one of the co-owners of Greenlight Comics in Adelaide in South Australia. I'm also an artist, a children's book artist, so it's a bit different from being a horror fan. So I am, when I say artist, I'm a children's book illustrator. I mostly do most of my work through with Scholastic, but I also do, my own kind of stuff as well. I'm a horror fan. I'm a massive horror fan. Otherwise, I wouldn't be hosting a horror podcast. And also, I have a love of video games, and I am also the co-host of a web show about video games called Hack the Dino over on YouTube. And I've got a cat, and that's about it about me. Jen, do you want to talk about you? Who you are?
Who is I am?
Who you are?
My name is Jen. I run Trailer Trash Review, which is an absolute dumpster fire of a site, and I say that because there's very little happening over there at the moment. I'm pretty lazy, but I'm getting back into it. Don't you worry. I am a lover of trash horror, so the worse the better. So if I can get that 1.4 star rating on IMDb, I'm going to watch the shit out of that film. You better believe it.
I always notice it when you come around to my house and you've bought a movie and you're like, this is so good. And we watch it and I'm just like, it wasn't good. Like, but I understand why you love it. But I'm just like, oh my God, like that Tammy and the T-Rex.
Hey, Tammy and the T-Rex is so good. And don't you worry, I've got a better one up my sleeve. So just you wait.
Was it called Tammy?
It's Tammy and the T-Rex, yeah.
But her name's not Tammy in it, remember? Her name was something else. It was like Temmie or something. Like, do you remember it was different from the title? It was weird.
Yeah, that does sound about right.
Anyhow, you can keep going. You're a collector of vinyl.
Yeah, I have quite a significantly large
pop vinyls.
Not pop vinyls. Okay, everyone has pop vinyls. I collect vinyl soundtracks, so a lot of horror soundtracks on vinyl. Collection is growing. It is a very expensive hobby, but what can you do? I also collect t-shirts. So if many of you know me in real life, you know that I have a shit ton of shirts, and they're all pretty damn good.
Yeah, man. Is your wardrobe massive? Because you're always wearing a new t-shirt when I see you.
Yeah, I don't have a wardrobe. I have a pile. So basically there's about 4 or 5 piles of shirts stacked up halfway up the wall because I can't fit them in an actual wardrobe.
Is it like a nest? It's where you where you breed more t-shirts?
Yeah, just plant the seeds, put some cotton in, bam, t-shirt, it's great. It's also where my cat likes to sleep.
And you have like an Instagram purely for your t-shirts, don't you?
Well, yes, I do. Mostly, you can follow me at Jenfrose, JenFrRose, on pretty much everything. And yes, I do post my shirts when I feel comfortable and confident.
Excellent. So let's move. Comfortable and confident. That is not what this podcast is about.
Oh, hell no.
So let's move on to the this week in horror, the horror news. So this week we have 7 stories of horror. Is it just this week, or have we just got are we going to be able to sustain 7 stories every week? I reckon it doesn't matter. We can
make up news because that's what everyone else does. So why not?
Yeah, just like I watched something news. All right. So what's the first story, Jen?
Well, Neve, I still can't remember, but I don't really care. Neve Campbell is in talks to return for Scream 5. Obviously, with the COVID situation, there's not a lot is going ahead at this stage, but she has been talking with the producers, and she's actually pretty confident and comfortable coming back. She was saying that she was not 100% thrilled about it because, obviously, Wes Craven, God rest his beautiful, beautiful soul.
Is Wes Craven dead?
He died.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he
Guess
died a
Freddie got him.
couple. Yep. Well, yeah. Died a couple of years ago, so that's sad. So she said that she had originally been apprehensive about doing another Scream without him because he was such a genius and he's the reason that they are what they are. But they came to her with a great appreciation for his work, and that obviously meant a lot for her. So
Man,
I'm pretty keen because Scream is probably one of my all-time favorite films.
oh, it's a masterpiece. It's such a good film. I was obsessed, and it's Neve Campbell. I'm pretty sure it's Neve.
It's Neve. Oh, I can never remember. You
It's
talk
not.
to one
It's not
person.
Neve. Eh?
It's not Neve, but I'm sure everyone will, throw in their 2 cents of how you pronounce her name.
So I was
Yes.
obsessed with her growing up. She was on. Was it Party of Five? She was.
Yes,
No,
she
no,
was
no,
on Party of Five.
no. Was it Party of Five? No, or was that Abby
Yes.
Tucker?
No, she was on Party of Five, yeah.
Party of Five. That's where I first saw her, and I created basically a shrine for her as a teenage boy in my bedroom. Got all my the magazine smash hits or weekly hits or whatever it was. Got all the pictures of her, stuck her up on the wall. Yeah. After a while, it didn't need any sticky tape to keep those pictures stuck on the wall. But
Do you
like,
know what's really interesting?
no,
Same.
oh, same.
She was like my first I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is the ultimate Scream queen, but Neve Campbell is the Scream queen of my heart. Holy shit, did I have a crush on her. Still do.
She's the scream queen of your generation. I like
Pretty
it.
much, yeah.
Yeah, but how good are Screams? Like, let's just take a moment to talk about Scream. Like,
Ugh.
I remember watching it in high school. I'm a bit older than you.
Yes.
So I saw it came out when I was in high school. So I was like the teen, exact person. And like, up until at that point, I mean, Scream's been out for long enough. We can do spoilers.
Yes, of course.
Up until that point, like, I had no idea watching that film that there was going to be more than one killer. And I don't think there's been many films after that there have been two killers. Like,
Not really.
I mean, I think they did maybe a couple of things in Saw. Later on, there was like the girl, wasn't it like there was the guy, and then one of the like Stockholm syndrome, like one of the victims from one of the other films helped him.
Yes.
But yeah, like throwing that on people was just like it was an awesome like twist, and they did it so well because they killed off the character a little bit before it. So you're like, well, it's not him. I remember everyone saying that when they're watching it, when they rewatch it, and I'd seen it, and they're like, well, it wasn't him then, and I'm sitting there going, ha, dickheads.
Suckers.
Yeah.
Oh,
But nah,
yeah, no,
Scream.
it fantastic film. I remember, so it came out, what, 96, 97, 96, I reckon. And obviously I'd missed it at the cinema, a bit young at the time, so I probably wouldn't have been allowed to see it at the cinema at the time anyway. And so I had it on VHS. At that point, I had pilfered my local video shop's collection.
But as in,
And
literally stole them.
not stole as such, but I remember marching my ass back down there. I watched Candyman, and I hated it so bad that I marched down there and demanded a second film. And
So
which
you're not a fan of Candyman either, because I don't
yeah,
like Candyman. And
I
I was hanging out with King Kaiju, not yesterday, day before, or yesterday, and he just bought all the Candyman VHSs, and I'm like, do you like that? See, I never liked it. And he's like, yeah, man, it's wicked. 5 times in the mirror, like classic. And I'm like, okay. To me, it just didn't. It didn't ring true as a true horror film to me. It was like it's almost like they tried to put too much story in there.
Yeah, that was a bit pity. Oh, I'm so sad. Like, I died, and now I'm back with bees. Nah.
Bees.
Yeah. Oh, the bees. Yeah, wasn't a fan. And I was like 10 or 11 at the time when I saw it, and I walked down there and I basically handed it over. I said, "This is shit," and he just gave me another film. So
He's
yeah,
just like, I'm not arguing with you, Jen.
no,
If you say a horror movie shit, it's shit. Let me just sacrifice this to a lesser god out the back.
right?
But yeah, but
I'm keen for the remake, but yeah, I just can't do it.
yeah, but so Scream, back to Scream. Scream
Oh yeah.
5. I don't reckon I've seen number 4. I reckon I missed that. Hey, like,
Okay, 4 is solid. 4 is a solid film, and I love that everyone on Twitter is all of a sudden jumping on this like, "Oh, Scream 4 that was a really solid film." Like, it was always a solid film. You guys are just figuring that out now. Like, fuck off. It's great.
which was the one that had Arquette as the main character? Dewey? Is that his name?
He's in all of them. He's in all of them.
But wasn't there one where he was the prime? Like, is Neve Campbell the main character in all of them?
Yeah.
And did she
Yeah,
ever turn up as the baddie in one of them? Because I swear she did. Hey, that
no.
she was the murderer.
No. I think there was discussions about making that happen, but it never did. I mean, Scream 4, she sort of took more backseat to a new generation of characters, which were all pretty terrible, except for the McCulkin boy. Um, but yeah, like she's been solid the whole way through.
Yeah. Oh, have I lost you? Are you
Oh
there, Jen?
dear.
No, you're
I'm
back.
here.
You're
I'm here.
back. You're back.
Oof.
In this day of working from home, we expect these kind of challenges when doing podcasts. But yeah. So Scream 5, it's going to be good. Like,
Yeah.
I would like it because it is set in the West. It's Wes Craven, right?
Yes.
And you said he's passed on, which I didn't even know. So like, tickle me a bloody amateur.
Mm.
It'd be great if they could just I mean, they're up to 5. They might need to rejigger it, maybe like merge in some more of his folklore of some of his other films and make it so it's like a oh, I don't know. Or do you reckon that just wouldn't work? Like you couldn't like bring Freddy in there?
Oh, come on, please, for a crossover, yes, but only if Robert Englund is involved. And I think
that is true.
he's pretty much said he's not ready or not happy to do another Nightmare. But he is willing to lend his voice to an animated version, which would be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, that would work pretty good. Depending on how horror it goes, where you want to do like you need to get the great animators in, like the good ones, like not like those bloody DC animators, which I hate.
Oh, yeah, you hate DC animation. I don't understand it. Like the storylines are pretty good, so you know.
It's true, but yeah, I just can't handle it. That's just me an animation bloody toff. It's like,
Oh yeah.
but yeah. Let's move on to the second story. So what have we got? Friday the 13th turns 40.
Yes. So Friday the
Oh,
13th turned 40 on the 9th of this month. So I mean, happy birthday, Friday the 13th. Uh,
Jason.
Jason. Such a good, so fantastic franchise, spawned 10 sequels, crossover movie, fan films, video games, comic appearances. It has an incredible toy line, soundtrack releases and re-releases. There is even a board game being released later this year. So it is and has spawned one of the most prominent characters in horror history. And you know, Tom Savini lending all his talent to creating such a horrific and bloody and disgusting film. I
I love
love it.
as Jason went on how haggard he kept getting. It was just like, like, and I was kind of like they trying to keep the continuity. Like you had him, and then the one where he gets the axe kind of in his head, and that axe wound was kind of in the mask for
Yeah.
ages, like in the other films. And when they chained him to the bottom of the river, and he came out, and he had the chains over him. I can't remember which ones were which.
So
And then, like, when the telekinesis lady smashes his face off, and then later he just finds another hockey mask. Like,
yep.
just like,
They're just laying around. They're
yeah,
everywhere. It's fine.
that'll work. Well, they are in the hockey. They are in the hockey capital of the world, so there might be
Yeah,
more hockey masks lying around those places. Not,
it's true.
I mean, I used to remember going into sports stores just to look at hockey masks because it reminded me of Jason. I
I
didn't.
actually own a couple of hockey masks just because, you know, I wanted to have a Jason mask. And this was back before NECA were producing replicas and all these decent things. So I've got like a really shitty, I think, $2 mask from a shop 25 years ago that I bought. And then I've got like some crazy metal one that was given to me as a gift. I think it was like
Oh,
handmade or
like
something.
a Jason X one.
Not a Jason X one, just a standard hockey mask, but it's all metallic. So I think someone was hand making them, and I think my brother bought it for me actually. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So I've got that sitting in the collection as well. No actual replica collections because it's too many to collect.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out how many. So Jason Voorhees has killed approximately 146 people, in 12 films. That's
Wow.
pretty good. That's 12.2 slaughters per film, I think, like on an average. Like,
That's a pretty solid film. And he's a bit of a limb collector as well. I saw last night you guys were actually streaming Friday the 13th, and there were a
the
couple of,
game, yes.
there were a couple of limbs being torn, which was Fucking
Yes,
hilarious.
yeah. I also had one where he splits your legs open so much and bends your legs back. And
Yes, that
I
was a good
actually,
one.
in the recut of the video, I actually put every time he did that and stalked a woman, I put the Cosby Show music on.
Oh god. Okay, so I watched you play that for a good couple of hours last night, but I'm definitely gonna have to
Check
head
out the
over
highlight
to
clip. It's pretty
check
good.
out the highlight clip. Yeah, it was a comedy of errors, I feel. I think at one point you needed to have the Benny Hill music playing
Yep,
as Jason, like,
there is Benny Hill music playing. Yes.
oh, so good. I'm very, very excited about this, but
Do you have, just off the top of your head, do you have any favorite Jason kills? Since it's his 40th anniversary, we'll give him a bit of cred, I reckon. What's your
oh,
favorite? I've got maybe two that spring to mind. I really like. I mean, they're not always in the best of the Jason films. There's three actually.
yep.
I can't remember which one it is, but when Jason Takes Manhattan, is that 8 or 9 or something like that?
Is it? Oh god, who fucking knows? There's so many of them.
Yeah. So in that one, he fights a boxer in the streets of Manhattan. I'm actually now looking up, like, seeing which Friday
yeah,
the 13th, 5, 6. It's 8. It's number 8.
8. Yeah.
He fights a boxer, and for some reason, the boxer just decides that he can box Jason and just starts boxing him in his hockey mask, and he's punching Jason up heaps, and then he just like gets so tired out, and he's like having a breath, and Jason just looks at him and then just uppercuts his head off like Mortal Kombat style. I love that one. I love the one in Freddy versus Jason, the one where he comes in and the guy is laying face down on a bed, and Jason comes in and stabs him a whole bunch in the back, and then folds the bed up from each side up, so it like bends his back the wrong way, and his legs are up with his head. I
Yep.
thought that one's a really good one. And I also like in Jason X when he freezes the girl's face in like liquid nitrogen, and then just smashes her face on the bench because it's all frozen, it all breaks apart. They're my three. Some of my favorite Jason deaths. Do you have any? Or
I actually feel that I will 100% agree with you. The Freddy versus Jason one where he basically just like snaps that fucking guy in half in the bed, and he's still like shaking there with his beer can in his hand, and that's a solid kill. That's a solid movie. I think anyone who hates that movie you're wrong. There you go.
Yeah, because it does that whole thing of like all the people, they've dealt with Freddy, and they've put all the people that remember him in the is it Western Hills? So what's the place called?
Yeah, I think it's Western Hills. Yeah, definitely.
Western Hills Psychiatric Ward, and then like they kind of handled it, the adults in it, and because I watched this recently, the kids just fuck it up. They get out and then start telling everyone about Freddy, and then like in the next scene they're like, "Oh, dude, if people remember him, he comes back. Oh no, we fucked it up." Like, yeah, you did. You stuffed it up. You should stay in the mental institution. The parents did the right thing. They were trying to protect the whole world from Freddy. You're a dickhead. But it tries to make all the adults out as the bad guys, but they're fully not, because it's the only way to stop Freddy, and they were the only people to stop him up until that point, where these bloody dickhead teenagers just didn't want to be in prison for the rest of their lives.
That's right. I find that as I get older, I relate more to so you sit and watching it as a teenager, and you're like, yeah, these teens are like doing shit that the adults couldn't do, and now I'm like, yeah, you gone done fucked up, AA Ron. Like, you kids are the worst.
Yeah, I hate it when you start sympathizing with like the bad guy adults in films nowadays, where you're like, no, actually, they're right. You guys are the dickheads. That happens to me all the time.
We've been watching that 70s show, and I am 100% Red Foreman. I love him. He is the man.
Yeah, it's great. As you get older, you just appreciate different characters.
I sympathize. Yeah, it's great.
Should we move on to the next one? What's the next news we've got for this week?
Well, in keeping with anniversary theme, House of Wax, the remake, turns 15.
So and this is the remake of House of Wax turns 15.
Yeah, so in the late 90s, Dark Castle Entertainment started producing and releasing remakes of William Castle classics. So in 99, we had House on Haunted Hill, which is a solid film. 2001, 13 Ghosts, also another great film. 2002, we had Ghost Ship, which has one of my favorite opening scenes for any horror film.
I agree. That's the one with the wire, isn't it? Or the steel cable. Yeah, that's I get because you got 13 Ghosts there. I always get them confused, those two films, on
Yeah,
like
okay.
which one it is, because like, I know I've said to people, 13 Ghosts, when The Wire comes across, people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, uh-oh, I've got my films. Yeah, but yeah, that opening, man, I remember saying that. I do think as well that is the best part in the entire film. Like,
Oh,
you
it
can
is.
you can basically press stop, rewind that video, put it back on your shelf after you've watched that bit.
Pretty much. And I'm pretty certain that I used to do that quite a lot. I just watch that opening, like, yeah, I'm done. I'll go on to something else. So,
Mm.
yes. And then, of course, House of Wax was released in 2005, and Dark Castle kind of stopped remaking films and tried to sort of go out on their own and do stuff. So, yeah, we're celebrating House of Wax 15th birthday, and I feel old.
And after Paris Hilton's video debut in her like night vision sex film, they thought she was so great in that they might as well get her for a film now, and so she was in that, wasn't she?
She really honestly wasn't that bad in it. Like, she was
What?
no worse than any other kind of actor in any other horror film.
That is true, but
That's an unpopular opinion of the day, but
I don't know, boom, boom, boom.
uh-oh.
And the Twitter's blowing up.
Oh dear. I remember seeing that film in the cinema. I think I went with my older brother. And it was a solid horror film. Like, the bit where she's, her mouth is glued together and she's got a, finger poking up through the grate in the ground, and brother's in. It's like that. Oh my god, is he gonna forget? And he just sort of, this guy just bends down and just snips her finger off with a pair of garden shears. I'm like, oh, yep, that's great. That's
Yeah,
solid.
nailed
So
it.
good. Of course, it had the young Jared Padalecki from Supernatural that the girls seem to go crazy for. So
He is a bit of a star, isn't he?
uh,
He's a classic example of man meat.
yeah, I think so. And I like that they paid him out the whole way through the film for having a He-Man haircut. That was great.
That is good. I think we've what else is there? Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot update.
Yes. So again,
what was this one on? JoeBlow.com.
Yeah.
We should have been mentioning these where these news articles are coming from. I just realized.
The internet.
Yes. We're just a news program. We're just regurgitating the news. So.
That's right, but we do it a lot cooler, and we're Australian, so suck on that, Joe Blow. Not really. I love you. You're a great site.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously, again, with the COVID situation, a lot of productions have been halted. But the producers have also just released some information about the upcoming Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. It's going to be very similar to the Halloween, where it's sort of depicting a 60-year-old Leatherface years down the track. So they've got different interpretations of Killer in the past, but this time he's been renamed several times, and this time he's going to be a 6-year-old character.
6-year-old?
60-year-old character. As
6-year-old that's carrying around a chainsaw, just dragging it behind him.
I would 100% watch that. Let's make that happen.
It's like they could. It's about time they crossed over. I mean, I've already brought it up once now, but like, why not have like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and it's Chucky?
Why not?
Like mash that IP up.
Well, these are films that we would all watch it. You could put. I just want them all in a ring. Let's battle it out. We'll watch it. Everyone will watch it.
I remember when I was growing up, like Fangoria magazine had like a poster in the middle once, and it had Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and I think like Pumpkinhead. Do you remember when he was in vogue?
Was he ever really in vogue?
Yeah, man, he was the best. And Leatherface, all in the same photo shoot, and they were just all in a graveyard together. Like they'd got them all, the actors did them up. And I just remember used to look at that poster. I'm like, man, imagine like the crossover of that and how crazy it would be. Like, it happened a little bit in Freddy versus Jason, where like they started killing each other's prey and they were getting angry with each other, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he's just getting sort of mad at everyone else about, oh, she was mine. I was gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Of course, we know Freddy is the superior character, I guess.
Do you reckon he's the most powerful out of those guys?
I really don't know.
Well, he can always bail back to his dreams. I mean, Jason is unkillable. That's his one power. Like, so he's pretty good, but like, he is just a walking kill machine where Freddy always threw some humor in and he was really creative in how he killed people. Like, he enjoyed his work. Well, Jason just did it for his bloody mum. Just
Well,
to
yeah.
smooch up to her jumper that was on the table. Sniff up a bit of mum smells every now and then. Like,
Smells like mother.
mm,
Yeah, I mean, I've always been partial to Freddy because he's been more creative and because he's got that humor. You know, Jason is definitely that unstoppable killing machine. He does it for the paycheck, whereas Freddy, he does it for the love of it. So he just
yeah.
loves killing kids. Who doesn't?
Oh, I know, especially ratty teens. So I didn't like in the new remake of Freddy where they made him into a child molester. I was like, oh man, that's kind of like spitting on his name a bit, I thought. Like,
Yeah, that had a 10th anniversary coming up the other day, and I sort of thought to myself, should I give it a rewatch? I've only saw it once at the cinema and absolutely hated it. So
yeah,
I
like
thought to myself, I'm not going to watch that. I will just continue living my life.
taking out the pure essence of what Nightmare on Elm Street was. Like, I mean, he was a child murderer. I mean, he's a teen
Yes.
murderer. No, he actually did kids as well. But like, it was weird, like, because he was so like charismatic and stupid and funny, and horrors at that time had that comedy horror vibe to them, like Night of the Walk. Was it Return of the Living Dead and stuff? Is it Return? Is that the funny one?
They're all funny after a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there was one that
Return
was
of the
like,
Living Dead.
yeah, Return of the Living Dead. And then like to remake Nightmare on Elm Street and the opportunities they had with the special effects of today, with just working that dream angle to maximum, and they just didn't. Like, they had bits like, oh, look where we are now, like, but I'm like, no, just go bloody Inception on that dream shit. Do the dream
Yeah,
within a
100%.
dream within a dream, because they used to do that in Nightmare on Elm Street all the time.
Yeah.
Like the bit where you'd wake up and you'd still be in the dream. And the moment in Nightmare on Elm Street, because you had your characters that had stayed up for so long. And the moment any of them closed both their eyes for like 1 second could be the point where it's changed over, where they've passed out or like, like gone into, and like, you just didn't get those cool vibes in that one. And then to make him a bloody pedo, I'm like, come on, right? Like, you don't have to hate Freddy. You have to hate the kids to enjoy a Freddy movie.
That's right. That's the whole point of Freddy. Like, I'm rooting for Freddy the whole time. I don't think there's ever been a time where I've been like, oh, yes, teen, you get away from
they
him.
got
No, I
away,
want to
yeah.
see how he's going to toy with you, what he's going to do, and then how the fuck he's going to kill you, because it's going to be amazing.
But you also always did get the payoff at the end of how they're going to kill him and how ridiculous this is. Like, are they going to be faces exploding out of him? You know what I mean? Like, you always loved the Freddy death as well. They always went to town on the, light bursting out of him and he's spinning around and stuff like that. Like, and I feel we didn't get that even in that new Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
No, I couldn't even tell you how they killed him. Like I say, I saw it once at the cinema, and that was pretty much it for me.
And like, make him into, I know some people might like, but like, they made him into like an actual looking burn victim. And I was like,
I think that's just Jackie O'Haley, to be honest. He kind of does look like a burn victim.
Oh god. But
Sorry.
you know what I mean? Like, they kind of went away with that like stylized look of what he looked like.
Yeah.
And into like an actual burn victim. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, if I was a burn victim watching that, I wouldn't want to watch it. Like,
I'd be pretty upset too. Well, I think that's what a lot of people had the problem with was okay, you're rebooting a classic film where the actor is still alive and very able-bodied to do this, and you've taken away what he did for it.
did he get asked?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I don't know if he got asked. I mean, he's donned the outfit several times for a couple of different things, but yeah, I guess sometimes they just want to reboot it for the sake of money.
Yeah. Money. Anyhow,
It's all about money.
back to Texas Chainsaw Reboot. You've got a quote. What's his quote?
Yes. So
read
they
me,
were basically
read me the quote.
Read you the quote. So they've basically come out and said that there have been a few different interpretations of the killer in the past, and he has been renamed several times in various origin stories. In this telling, he's a 6-year-old and characterized as having a big build. He's not a bodybuilder and may even be slightly obese. He also wears church clothes that are too tightly fitted.
Wait, so he's a fat man in church clothes that don't fit. Fine. Go.
Yeah. So that's pretty comical in itself, like, So Leatherface is additionally described as as complex, though he is also listed as a non-speaking role because generally he doesn't speak in the films. He primarily expresses himself with guttural noises that range from a howling belly laugh to a pig-like squeal. Most of his time is spent inside watching TV, which is something that triggers his laughter. It is also revealed that he shields his face in an effort to avoid his picture being taken.
End quote.
Um, End quote. It sort of makes me want to watch a Golden Girls style horror flick where all of these aging killers are just hanging out in a retirement village, living their best lives
Well,
and reminiscing about all the kids they killed.
that like little quote that you did kind of just that's what that was. Just an old dude watching TV, laughing, doesn't want his photo taken. He's fat now. He wears his
Yeah.
old clothes that don't fit, like church clothes. What are exactly church? Because I thought a pastor or a preacher, but like that's not church clothes. That's like so they mean like your best Sunday clothes that you wear to church.
Yeah, your Sunday best. I'm thinking maybe some brown slacks, white shirt, probably one of those white shirts with no sleeves, and
So no
tie.
apron.
No apron. That would be It would be
Ooh.
better if he was wearing that, but we'll see. So many interpretations. I've still never seen the one with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey.
Which year was that? Is that the?
I th- I think that was the third one.
I don't think I may have seen it. There was the remake one that had the there was the hitchhiker shot the girl in the head and the camera went back out through her head out back through the gunshot of the car, and I was like, well, I'm done. I can just go home after watching that amazing gunshot like scene. I don't need anything more out of that film.
That whole film was amazing. Like that film was just like a lot of people don't like reboots and remakes and don't touch the classic. And don't get me wrong, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a classic, but I really really enjoyed the reboot. I thought they did an amazing job with it, and a lot of it came down to those kinds of special effects. Like that scene was insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they would have put like, days work into that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, back when I was still buying DVDs, like I spent $40 at the time on the collector's edition, just so I could get all those, special feature interviews and stuff because, I like that kind of thing. I like to know all about the film and how they made it. And I think they did like a 10-15 minute segment just on how they did that scene with
Was
an
it
air
like
gun and stuff like that.
practical effects?
Yeah, I like
Oh,
a good
man.
practical effect.
Dude, like practical effects is my jam. As a child, I always wanted to work in special effects, especially after I saw like The Thing, and that dude was like 21 that did all the effects on that,
Oh,
and I was like, get out, and I'm like, yeah, I never did. Obviously, I just became the stunning man I am today. But like, all right, I reckon we've done that. That's great.
yeah.
So moving on to story number 1, 2, 3, 4. Story number 5. What have we got?
Yeah. So
also from JoeBlow.com.
Also from Joe Blow. Lots of great sites out there. The Parasite production company CJ, so Parasite, the film that came out this year, everyone raved about it. So they're teaming up with Ari Aster, who did Hereditary and Midsommar, to produce a remake of the South Korean cult thriller Save the Green Planet.
Save the Green Planet. Oh my god.
I've not seen this film, so I'm very interested to see how they come up. Have you seen it?
You know what? Is that it was because I went through a massive Miike, what's his first name? Takeshi Miike thing. And around that time is when I discovered Save the Green Planet, which I don't think is by him. I'm trying to remember if I've seen it or not. But I do remember I have watched the trailer, and the trailer is good enough just to watch itself. I believe it involves a punk version. This is like going back like 20 years, like a punk version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow is in the trailer. And it will just look crazy. And what do we got there? About a man who believes in the in the world is on the verge of an alien invasion and sets out to save the planet by first kidnapping his boss. Yeah, I think it's a meltdown film, like a falling down, but it
Yeah,
might be
well,
happening.
that was the very simple the version that they've sort of described it as, but, knowing these kinds of films and the people that create these films is gonna be so in-depth and
Yeah.
intense, and I think as well, like, Ari Aster's doing such amazing work, like, Hereditary was amazing, Midsommar was, like, pretty damn good as well. I think so he's just gonna turn this into something
I
horrific, but
I
I'm
feel
not sure if
this is a passion piece for him. I reckon he loves to save the green planet, and now he has the notoriety, he has the push, and he just like has got this opportunity to actually, saying because what how would they get maybe yeah. So now that Parasite had such a cinema success kind of thing,
yeah.
it's a good into that like South Korean kind of like film market, and he's seen that, and he's like, dude, talk to the Parasite dude. He said, dude, I love Save the Green Planet. Let's remake that like together. It'll be wicked. Do you think it's going to be Korean cinema or it's going to be American cinema?
I think it's gonna be American cinema, and I feel and I always worry when because everything does get lost in translation sometimes, like, with these kinds of films, it works because it comes from that country with that culture, with their style of humor, so, like, the Tokyo what are those films? Like Robo Geisha and all those kinds of films,
Oh
like,
yeah,
they
like Gore
have
Police or whatever they're called and stuff. And
yeah, Tokyo Gore Police, thank you. Like they've got their style, and I don't feel that it would translate if they were remade by an American company. But again,
no,
it's still the production company that released Parasite, so who knows? It could be interesting. And I mean, I love an alien invasion film, and I know you love an alien invasion film, so this is definitely something that I'm keen to watch out for.
it is true. This might be a contender for our homework this week. Save the Green Planet.
I think so, yeah.
Anyhow, I think I'm looking forward to that. As I said before, I was a massive Miike fan growing up. Itchy the Killer, like Audition, all these films, which I was like, I just got obsessed with. I mean, with that director, which is not this director or the same country, but Asian cinema, we'll call it that. He had his douse of horror in there and comedy horror and just awkward films and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be all over this. Any remake of like classic Asian horror and stuff like. I love the Ring remake. Like I actually think the American one is a great film.
It is, yeah.
Rings and Ring 2 is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you just stop at that first one because there's nothing more you can really tell in the Ring franchise. People just can't get over the fact that you can't win in the Ring.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's such a great concept. You can't win. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how
Like
many secrets you unravel or how you work out what the tape means or what it means on the tape. It doesn't matter. You don't win.
you're
You
done.
don't. Yeah, and it's such a when you work that out, it's like, man, that is horrific. You're done. You're
Yeah,
done. I
solid.
get you.
Have you checked out the new Grudge film? So they've remade The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and they've just recently remade it again.
See, I never liked the remake of The Grudge. I thought The Grudge was boring. I thought
Agreed.
it was just about a building. It had a stain on a roof and it had a water tower on the top, and that cue credits. Like that's
Yeah.
all I got out of the American remake of that film. I was just like, oh god, really? And then like maybe one or two scary scenes, but to me the child wasn't scary.
Well, the only thing I remember is that really like terrible noise that it made.
Yeah, like
Like,
I can't do it, but yeah,
yeah,
that noise that 50% of the people in the world can make anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, some people I know love the Grudge film, and that's fine. Everything is subjective,
Well,
especially
that's
horror,
fair.
and horror has such a vast range of ways that people interpret it and stuff. That's why we can do a weekly podcast about one genre of movie because it is such a huge genre of movies,
Oh yeah.
ranging from like comedy all the way down to like pure, like writhingly disgusting gore porn, like
I do like
faces
a
of
little bit of
faces.
gore.
Nah, face. I didn't like those, like the Faces of Death and all those things.
Oh yeah.
Shocking Asia 2. Do you remember that
I
one?
I remember a lot of those. I think they're the ones that, when you're a young kid and you're sort of like, okay, so we're a little bit older. So I remember going to the video shop and getting VHS.
Mm.
So they were the kind of things that the VHS cover was amazing looking, and it was when you're young and you're getting into horror, it's like, oh, it's got to be hardcore, it's got to be gory, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. So you're going for all these kinds of things, and you're not necessarily appreciating like this one particular film because it's not what you think horror should be,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, I think as I got a little bit older and I studied film and stuff like that, I was able to sort of get my head out of my own ass about what horror is and just sort of enjoy everything for what it is.
These are things we
Doesn't
probably
have
should
to
have.
be.
These are things we should probably should at the start about ourselves. Like you have worked in a video shop, a blockbuster,
Yeah.
a cinema,
Yep.
film school. I've also gone to
Yep.
film school. I've worked at the South Australian Film Corporation for a while. I was a wedding video editor. We should let's add that to the opening of like
Yeah.
who we
We've
are. So we have our
used
credit.
stuff.
We've done our our hours in the trade, if you
Yeah.
would.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. We've got some credentials, guys.
Yeah, we said we didn't, but now we
But
realize we do.
we kind of do. But again, like, like I was saying to you the other day, there is always going to be someone out there who knows a little bit more, who's watched a little bit more.
Oh,
But,
everything.
that's right. So just it's all subjective and how we like to go about viewing and interacting with this media. So, yeah.
And it's how much fun you have with it, really. It's how much fun you have with the genre, not how much you know or who's wrong. It's just how much fun you're going to have with it. Because deep down, horror movies are fun. They're
That's
just
exactly
fun.
right. Yeah. And I love having fun with it. I love having fun watching it and, how crap can this be? Oh my god. Let's just turn the sound down and make up our own stories. It's so much fun.
Yep, exactly. All right, moving on to our the penultimate news story. Children of the Corn Reboot Shooting in Australia from dailymail.co.uk.
I know, of all places. Yeah, so Children of the Corn shooting in Australia on the outskirts of Sydney. And the reason we found this out was because the cops came around and started questioning the film crew about why they weren't social distancing.
Oh
So
dear.
they're all out in these cornfields having a break, just doing cornfield things. And the cops come by like, oh, hey guys, 1.6 meters or whatever it's meant to be. And yeah,
What
so
in Sydney, out in the
yeah.
cornfields.
I didn't even know Sydney had cornfields.
Oh, there's photos on the
There
link
are
as
photos.
well. And have a look at some
Yeah.
of the. Oh, they're all like, "What are you doing, guys?" I've got an ad blocker. Allow. I'm gonna have to turn that one off for this one. Refresh. Quality podcasting. So yeah, New South Wales Police going out there. What are you doing, guys?
So yeah, it looks like it's the Ford versus Ferrari producer, Lucas something. Where's his name?
Yeah, I don't know his name either.
Yeah, Lucas, old mate Lucas, out there filming some Children of the Corn action.
So are you a Children of the Corn fan? I went through a stage,
yeah,
which also led me down the path of Village of the Damned and stuff like that.
Nice.
Which is nothing really to do with each other, but they kind of feel the same. So what was the name of the kid in it? Caleb?
Yeah, there was Malachi.
Malachi.
Yeah.
It's the name of is that the name of the bird in the regular show as well?
That's Mordecai.
Mordecai. Damn it.
Mordecai.
Anyway, yeah, I always love those names of those characters in Children of the Corn. And then
old mate Jedediah. Not Jebediah, but Jedediah.
Jedediah. Like such good names of you get those names, those characters that stick with people forever, like Damien Omen. Like no one wanted to call their kid Damien for a while. And around the time Children of the Corn, probably no one would want to call their kid Jedediah.
I don't think anyone now wants to call their kid Jedediah.
I don't think anyone ever called their kid Jedediah.
I don't know. Americans, what do you reckon?
Oh,
Amish people, Jedediah, probably.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, there would be. There'd be the backwaters.
I just remember that ginger boy walking Linda Hamilton through the streets screaming, "Outlander, Outlander, we have your woman, Outlander." Oh, the way he did it was ridiculous. and I
They were
loved
just,
it.
they're just a cult in the end, weren't they? They weren't like no, they were supernatural. There was like,
Yeah, there was a
especially in the
supernatural.
sequels, especially.
Yeah, and
They
I
never.
loved that the young guy that played the main baddie was one of the Boyle crew from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So yeah, I didn't know that. Children of the
Yeah.
Corn, 1984.
Oh
Oh,
God, I wasn't
what?
even born yet.
Oh, I was. I was definitely. It's a Stephen King book, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
The Stephen King universe. Like, only recently I've worked out. Well, when I say I've worked out, only recently I read that all of his films is the same evil apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, so I know if you I watched the remake of what was it, Pet Sematary the other day,
Yep.
and they're like, that's all and there's signs of them driving to their town. It's just outside of, like, is it Derry?
Yes. Yep.
So apparently the whole Stephen King, like it, all of them are that same evil from that meteorite kind of thing or whatever it was. Like that's
Yeah.
in the all, like the Tommyknockers, all those things are the same things. They're all
Yeah.
alien based horror. Apparently, the
Oh,
thing in the Mist, all that stuff is supposed to be the same, and they're like the deadlights are a massive part of it. Apparently, I haven't read into it a lot. There are a lot of essays about it, but it's a kind of cool idea. But it does sound like a tacked on thing that he said afterwards, eh? Like,
I mean, I do like a universe where everything is, and I think they sort of talk about that a lot in Castle Rock, the TV series, like how everything's sort of interconnected in its own little way, which I do like a universe. But I mean, Stephen King, for me, like I love a lot of the adaptations. There's a lot that I haven't read and a lot that I haven't seen, but I 100% appreciate him for everything that he does. And I'm probably not as well read as I should be for someone who likes horror.
just looking at all these Children of the Corn pictures at the moment on the internet, it should, they just all look like baristas. all the cast of the bad people, they're just trendy baristas before their time. Like,
Yeah,
oh
okay.
man.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Is there a TV show of this? It seems like something that would be a good adaptation. There are a lot of films.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought that they would have at some point done a telly movie. Because why wouldn't they? There's a lot there. So,
There's 5, I think. Is there more than 5?
oh, I think there's more than that.
Oh, there could be
But
ones that don't have numbers. Oh, Children of the Corn 666. That's the
ah,
6th one. I'm like, genius. Not many horror films get to 6 that they can actually use the old number of the beast for their numbering, but I would. It's
oh yeah,
definitely
use it every time you can.
exactly. All right, I've digressed from what we were talking about. So our last news item. It's always good to end on a bit of Macaulay Culkin.
Hey, look, I like Macaulay Culkin, so I just had to add that one in there.
I mean, who doesn't?
Well, yeah, he's
Party monster, man. Can't go past that film.
I love Party Monster. It's got a great soundtrack. Marilyn Manson's in it. Seth Green. Everyone's in it. It's great.
Anyhow, the news article is as follows. From you.
Basically, so obviously a lot of people are a big fan of Ryan Murphy's American Horror Story, and Macaulay Culkin is returning to the screen to be in this film. And as it turns out, he was pitched the idea from Murphy himself that, your character is really weird and intense and insane, and you basically are going to have some crazy erotic sex with Kathy Bates.
No. Quote, crazy erotic sex, end quote. You have to have your quotes. They're the best. You have to say that's their exact wording. Kathy Bates.
So with Kathy Bates, and he basically said it was the role that he was born to play and signed up then and there on the spot. So not only are we excited, I mean, I'm not really huge into the American Horror Story series personally, but Macaulay Culkin's in it. I will watch it.
Yeah, my wife's into it. She really liked the Asylum one, I think.
The Asylum one was good, yeah.
People like their seasons in that show. You know what I mean? Like you talk to someone like, I liked this season. I like this one. I only watched the first one, and to me, it was just like a weird like ghost comedy. It seemed like a bunch of people living in a house that were ghosts and a family. I don't know. It didn't Really do it. But Kathy Bates, man, that's a strong call for a sex scene.
But that's a strong woman. She
I mean, Macaulay Culkin, he's not the Hulk. He's not a big man.
he's bulked out a bit. He's looking good nowadays. He's looking very good nowadays.
I actually watched a video with him yesterday because he does a lot of stuff with Angry Video Game Nerd. And he did what was it? A review of Big Trouble in Little China together. It was very good.
Okay. I will definitely have to watch that.
Yeah, they do video reviews, so they set up like as if they work in a video shop, and like, so him and Angry Video Game Nerd work in the video shop together, and then they review, and then it just turns into a podcast basically. So they do a little skit at the start, kind of thing. I don't know if they continually do that, but they did for this one. And it was good.
Well, because he hasn't really been doing, because he has his own podcast, Bunny Ears Podcast. But yeah, he's not really been doing anything with that. I'm assuming it's because of American Horror Story, but also not a lot of stuff's happening because of the COVID. But yeah, so we will see. I'm very excited.
So let's move on to our next part of the show, our next section. So that's the news for the week. So now we have been going for an hour already, so it's easy to do an hour.
I know. Here I was thinking that how the hell are we going to get to an hour? It's because I rant.
No, it's because it's good.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through what we've been watching, but we're only going to talk about maybe one of those things, if you know what I mean. We'll run through the list, but yeah, kind of thing. So this week I watched, and these are horror movies, obviously. Of course, I watched TerrorVision, the movie, the name that we named the show after. Thought I'd give it a bit of a rewatch. Nope, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I hadn't seen it. I had not seen TerrorVision until this week, and it was great. Also, I watched The Cure on Netflix, or was it Stan? Oh, I should have written that down, which has Ellen Page in it. And I also watched the Tokyo Ghoul live movie, which is Tokyo Ghoul is an anime that they have made into a live action film, which just off the cuff was a great film. You know how sometimes those anime films just don't work. This one worked. So if you didn't know it was a manga or an anime, you wouldn't have picked it, kind of thing. It just stood alone as its own horror film. I'm going to talk about The Cure. So The Cure, I'm going to bring up I might bring up stuff about it so I can actually name the piece. So we had Ellen Page in it. Oh my God, I just brought up the band. Oh my God, there's like 1,000 Cure movies out there. This is, here we go, film. No, I'm not going to be able to do it. Anyway, I'm just going to talk about it. I had it all written down. No, I'm not going to find it, am I? Nope, I'm not going to find it. There is 1,000 films, apparently, that are called The Cure. I should have had this set up. Here we are.
It's an English zombie film with Ellen Page. English or Irish?
Irish. Yeah, so I'm just going to... I'm going to wing it off the bat with no... I can't remember the director. I don't have that information. It was made... It's on... I'm pretty sure it's a Netflix film. You know how they have their own actual films?
Yes.
Man. It's just annoying me that I can't find the actual one that it's based on. Anyhow, I digress. So you got Ellen Page. It's a zombie film set in Ireland. People put on Irish accents when they feel like it in the film.
I love when that happens.
Yeah. And it's set after the zombie apocalypse. So the apocalypse has happened. They have worked out a cure. And it's just in the first stages of this cure that the first batch of people are being let out into society after being a zombie and coming back into society. The hitch is that when you get the cure and you turn back into a human, you remember everything that you did whilst you're a zombie. So let that sink in for a while. So you can imagine, you can have, you remember if you'd attacked your family, you'd ripped your parents apart and your loved ones and your wife and your children. You remember everything. And you remember like the urge, you know, like you just like, I couldn't stop myself. I wanted to do it kind of thing. And so then it deals with them. So they're called the cured. Then there's another bunch of people and they're called the rejected. And they are people who have rejected the cure. and they're still zombies, and it's not working for them. And then you have normal people. So you get this big thing straight away. Is like these people, now that they have a cure, the people that are the rejected, which are still zombies, theoretically have more rights now because there is a cure. So you can't just kill them like zombies anymore, because there is a potential that they could become back in people again. So you get that weirdness in it. Then you get the normal people going, okay, but we don't want. There's a lot of people that hate the cured because they were zombies. They murdered their friends. Like, fathers meet their son again and like, I can't talk to you. I saw what you did to your mother, and stuff like that.
Oof.
So there's this massive divide, like almost like a wage, a class divide. So all these,
Discrimination.
yeah, like so, all the people that are the cured get treated like they're scumbags. So it's a martial laws in, and they at any time they can be like, executed. They have like what are they called? Like case workers that
Oh, yeah,
work with
kind of
them.
like on probation.
Yeah, they're like criminals being let out, and so to them, and they're dealing with the guilt of everything they've done, plus with a society that hates on them for a thing they had no control over doing, and it's just this, and it turns out really well. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of the actual story. Ellen Page she takes in her brother-in-law, who she doesn't know actually killed her husband.
Oof.
And he keeps it to himself because, like, you don't want to let that one out. Like,
No, it's
which
not
was
really something you
which
talk
is his
about.
brother. So he killed his own brother, which was her, and because he turned into a zombie. And it's one of those fast acting ones. So you get bitten, and in like 10 seconds, you're one of them.
Ugh.
Like 28 days later, kind of like, fast running zombies. The zombies also have whilst they're zombies, because now they can talk, they said there's a connection between them. So the people that are the cured, zombies who aren't cured don't attack them.
Right.
They're like, so so then the cured people rise up and they're like, well, we're clearly the next version of human that should be, because we fear nothing. Like,
well, what do you fear now that you've died, you've come back, you've ripped your family apart,
and the zombies
really
don't
know what.
attack you, so you're
Yeah.
to them, and everyone, they have a weird connection with all the people that were zombies. So they they got like, it's kind of like a pack mentality. It's kind of weird. Very cool movie. Not a super amounts of horror in it. There are elements of horror. There are zombie outbreaks. There's gore and stuff like that. But you've got, and being set in Ireland, I've never seen any film set in Ireland, eh? For most of the time, it just looked like EastEnders to me. But
Sure.
I mean, I don't like to rate films, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it up to you. As I said, this is all subjective, so I'm just going to leave it up to what I've said about the film, whether you would like to go watch it, kind of thing. So yeah, that's it. My watch for this week: The Cure on Netflix. Why not? If you got Netflix, sit in, watch it.
It is on Netflix. It was directed by David Freine, Freyne. I'm so sorry if I do not pronounce names correctly. You can tell me off about that in the comment section. 2017 movie. There you go. I did watch, I think I started it, got about 10-20 minutes in, and I kind of gave up. And that was a little while ago. Probably wasn't in the mood for a slow burner horror.
No, I understand that. Like, there's like, it was very slow at the beginning. Like, and if you're not, if you think it's gonna be something that it's not, then you'll just be like, oh yeah, I don't want to do this kind of thing. But yeah, I gave it its, I gave
See,
it.
I'm also not partial to zombie films. They're not my go-to. I do like a lot of the 80s, Night of the Living Dead series kind of ones. But as far as, going out of my way to watch a zombie film, I don't generally do that.
You think are you worn out with The Walking Dead being so popular, and then zombies were so? As a person who co-owns a comic shop, zombies went massive for a while. I know every comic came out. Marvel zombies, Walking Dead, all of them did their zombie thing. Deceased just recently for Deceased and stuff like that. But I understand the burnout of zombies. But then you get the movies like coming. There's all these people trying to do like their versions of it. What's the one with Drew Barrymore in it? The TV show,
the Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah, is she a zombie?
She's undead. There's something to do with a ball. I did watch the first season. It was actually really well done. Yeah, different sort of views on that one.
And then you get Jim Jarmusch's The Dead Won't Die.
The Dead Don't Die. That was great.
Uh,
Tilda Swinton in pure Tilda Swinton form. That's
I
all you
just
need to know.
think all you need to do to get me to watch a film is say Tilda Swinton, and I'll just be there. Like,
Right?
I mean, she's in one
Yes.
of my favorite horror films of all time, like the Only Lovers Left Alive. One of
Yep.
my favorites. I have this weird love for really long, drawn out horror movies. Like some of my ones I love the most is, Only Lovers Left Alive. I love Beyond the Black Rainbow. I love Hereditary. So these are all films that aren't traditionally the horror films I love, but they're the ones I love the most. It's a weird. Do you know what I mean? Like it's weird. Like, and then my third, fourth one is like Brain Dead kind of thing. So like polar opposite horror film, but it does show like the level of complexity and the range of what horror is. And yeah, I can't.
100%.
And yeah, so that's me. Oh, it's called The Cured. It's not The Cure.
There you go.
I'm such an idiot. This whole time I've been saying the wrong name.
I've been calling her Crandall. Oh God. No, it's fine. There's so many films with so many different names.
It's true.
So I watched Friday the 13th Part 2 late last week. Just wasn't thinking about it. Just decided to chuck it on. Great solid film.
Did you do that because of the news of Scream and you thought about like that Jason's mother bit?
No,
That was like so many people know that fact because of that film. Hey.
Yeah. So before you and I basically had a conversation on Tuesday about like we should start a podcast. And by Tuesday night we had pretty much had everything organized. And I'm pretty certain I had watched it on the Monday afternoon anyway. So it kind of worked out well. I was just in the mood for it, just something that I hadn't seen in a very long time. Still holds up.
Baghead Jason, isn't it?
That is Baghead. That is continuity, like what the hell kind of Jason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, well, okay, let's disregard the first one and just do our own thing, which I loved, and it worked. It spawned a whole thing. So yeah,
I mean, look at Halloween 3. Was it? Is that 3
Season
the one
of the
that?
Witch? Yeah,
Yeah, nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter.
No,
Doesn't hurt the
no.
franchise.
It doesn't.
If you
And
don't
people are getting on board with it now. Like people are rewatching it and being like, yeah, this is actually a pretty solid little film.
And if you don't like it, just don't watch it again and just move on. There's no point in bloody throwing around and ruining childhoods. There's no such thing.
Oh God, no.
As both people who work in pop culture industry, we hear the old ruin my childhood comments thrown around a bit. It gripes me. I can't handle it.
Yeah, it does certainly grind my gears. Yeah.
Anyhow, sorry, I interrupted.
No. So I watched that. I also just rewatched Shaun of the Dead, something to have on in the background while I was doing some stuff. And I watched a fun little movie called Tentacles.
Now, I don't know what this is. I've never even heard of this.
Okay. So Tentacles, for any of you who do have Amazon Prime, it is streaming on Amazon Prime currently. It is a 1977 film directed by a man with a very lengthy Italian name.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. It's Assonitis. Yeah, I'm not even going to embarrass myself further. Basically, it's like if octopus was Jaws.
Oh.
Yes. So several people disappear from and at the sea. Their bodies are found gnawed to the skeleton. Even their marrow is missing. Scientists have no idea which animal could do such a thing, but Dr. Turner begins to suspect that the company which builds a tunnel beneath the bay might have poisoned the environment and caused an octopus to mutate to giant dimensions.
What year did you say this was?
This was 1977.
Oh, so yeah, you're going heavy. 1 year before my birth year.
Oof. Well, if anyone knows, I am a huge fan. I like creature features, so anything giant animal related, I'm all over it.
Like the giant claw.
The giant claw. I like them. Giant ants.
Oh yeah, the ants, man. Can't go wrong with ants.
So this is an Italian-produced film which is shot in America. Henry Fonda and Shelley Winters. Most of you would know Shelley Winters either from the original Poseidon movie or the great-grandmother in Roseanne. Either way. They are both very out of place American actors for a film that is generally pretty well dubbed because most of the people are, speaking in Italian.
Hmm.
But this film has everything I wanted. So not only is there just like that crazy stock footage, so we can't actually produce a giant octopus, so let's just use stock footage and use toy boats and an actual octopus to create
Oh,
all of the danger. And there's a couple of rubber tentacles
well, I was gonna say
floating.
there must be a tentacle that grabs a man that's rubber or something, or
Yes, it breaks the boat and grabs a woman, which I think at one point it looked like it was grabbing a Barbie doll, so I was even more
even better.
excited by very excited by that. So, um,
Mm.
yes, that one. I mean, I'm not going to spoil how they end it, but
They get rid of the cephalopod.
well, there is a face off. There is a face off between the cephalopod and another
Cephalopod. That's
creature.
it. That's the word.
Yeah.
I said it wrong, didn't I? Like the true hero I am.
You're my hero, Dan.
Excellent, excellent. Let's move on to our next section, our last section, since we're running a little bit over time, but actually there is no
Yeah.
time. But so let's do our last bit, movie of the week. So this is where we've usually we would have homework where we decide a movie that we're going to watch the next week, but and then we talk about it. But being this the first episode, we obviously we haven't done one yet, so we watched TerrorVision. So and why not? Because we named the show after it, so we watched the film. So let's move straight into it. Jen, go.
Oh,
What did you think of TerrorVision? 1986. This one
oh,
came out.
I love TerrorVision. So it was one of those films that was always very elusive. Like you could never track it down. I think it only got released on DVD or Blu-ray like a few years back. So it was just never available here. So I only watched it for the very first time like a few months back. Oh my god, it's crap, and I love it. I love everything about it.
It wasn't crap. Like when I
It
first turned it on, I was like really impressed with the quality of the film. Like how clear it was and all like and the quality of the sound of like usually in those old horror films, you can just hear that they don't really know what they're doing. The microphones or the
yeah,
quality of the film looks bad or the shots aren't placed properly. All those things were there. So to me, it almost seemed like it was made by people who knew how to make a film. But yeah,
yeah. Yeah. No, like don't get me wrong. I love this film. It's a solid film for me. It ticks all my boxes. It nowadays it's considered very dated and silly. I because I did think I would look into it a little bit further just while we are having a talk about it, and I read one of the very first reviews and they called it smugly stupid. And
exactly. That's perfect. It
it
is.
is. It was perfect because this film is just silly and I love everything about it.
So the premise of it, for the people who haven't seen it, we're not going to tell you the ending or anything, but the premise is there is. So it starts off in space. There is an alien, and he is basically, from what I get, he's an alien janitor, and he's ejecting some garbage with a face into space, turning it into a radio wave, and that's how they get rid of their garbage. This garbage then proceeds to bounce off of a whole bunch of planets and then end up getting attracted to a rich family who have a state of the art cable radar dish put into their house. And from there, it can bounce out of the TV and do all these things. That's your premise. That's
Yeah.
your opening premise. The family themselves. So you've got the mum and dad, you've got the kid, and you've got a grandpa living with him. The grandpa is obsessed with war. He's a stereotypical, PTSD person that's been in the war, except he loves war. He has a bunker built in his house with a steel door with like the what are those round things called? Like in Resident Evil, you always have to find them, like a cog opener.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know what they're called.
And then you have the son, which he loves his grandpa and he's obsessed with the army as well. And then you have and you also have the daughter, which is
Yeah,
basically a rip off of Cyndi Lauper, who they've just
she's
added
cute.
another wig on top of her wig, so she has massive hair. But it's so
She's a punk
obvious.
rocker. She is a punk rock chick. She's actually in um Bill and Ted, one of the Bill and Ted movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is she one of the babes, the babe princesses?
Yes, she is. Yeah, Diane
Oh,
Franklin is her name. She's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and I think she's in one of the Amityville. I think she's in Amityville 2: The Possession
yeah,
and
right.
Amityville Murders. Yeah, she's pretty cute. Like she, for
And
a
there's
terrible
also
looking
someone
cat.
else in that film as well, her boyfriend. Who was that?
Uh, John Grice.
So,
Many of you would know him as Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, but he is in this sporting a really cool wasp t-shirt and a terrible, terrible wig.
and yeah, and he's like a punk rock with a leather jacket, and he's like, "Yo, dude, what's
I
up, dudes? That monster dude!" And like,
I think if they had have made it in the 90s, it would have been Keanu Reeves for sure.
oh yeah, he sounded like Keanu Reeves. Like his
Yeah,
voice was exactly that. So, and then you have the parents who are these overly sexualized swingers,
yeah,
which is totally out of left field. Like, I don't understand why. Oh, they're called the Puttermans, aren't they? The family.
yeah. The Pudmans. Yeah,
So they're these swingers. So their whole house is full of erotic art,
yep,
which is weird because before they mention that they're swingers. So you're watching like, what are those paintings on the wall and shit? And then
yes.
and then yeah, there's a whole swinging scene in it, which is like really. I don't know if I was down with it.
I
Because
I feel that it was
there was no boobs in this whole film, was there?
no. This film is the only reason it got the highest rating it did was because of all the sexual decorations throughout the house. So the statues, the prints, because there are no actual 80s horror boobs in this at all. There's no
No.
nudity.
And especially for
Um,
so many scenes that involve like there's like a foursome in a bed kind of thing, but not
that
kind of.
scene reminded me of Society, by the way.
It did. It was very a la Society. Like all
Yeah.
the people merged into, but then they made it like weird incestual jokes and like really
Yeah,
weird, awkward incest jokes about like how the grandpa pops out of the bed while they're having the orgy,
yeah,
and
that
it's
was
just
a
like
bit
I'm just in here taking care of business, and I'm like, oh dear, oh dear.
forever
Um,
taking care of business.
yeah, always taking care of business. And there's that, yeah, that scene where he's like, like apparently he's alluding to the fact that he's wanking when he's yelling out, "I'm taking care of business."
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
too many old
Uh,
people wanking and having sex in that film.
yeah, so gross.
But then,
Um,
oh man, and then you get the monster, and the monster is clearly where all their budget went into.
100%. And there's so much slime and just green goop, and I love that kind of stuff. It for me that works, and the melt and all of this kind of thing. I
Mm.
really like the design of him.
He reminded me heaps of, do you remember Freaked? That
We've watched that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the one that had like Bill and Ted from, well, one of the Bill and Teds in it. Yeah, like when he turns into the freak and they make like that comedy, but the monsters at the end, like how they're all animated and stuff. It fully reminded me of that. Like the lots of
Yeah.
effort put into every bit moves, the eyes move, the mouth moves, everything's kind of like flowing and moving. There's snot coming out. There's someone in there bumping stuff out of pussy zits and shit
Uh,
constantly and stuff,
yeah.
like splurting out everywhere. And then
Ugh.
and yeah, and then oh, and there's also the other character in it, which is the late night Medusa character.
Yes, who is a very low rent, like trailer trash version of Elvira.
Yes, so and which is on the television, and then she comes to their house because she thinks it's a party. It doesn't make any sense.
It
Um, in tradition of horror movies, though, it had one of those endings like we got told not to write in year 5. I remember is that when you've run out of ideas, you can't just kill everyone in the story. Which within like there's 3 people left, and then the next second everyone dies, and it says the end.
That is a
Like
spoiler alert, guys. Like, if for those of you who haven't seen it, yeah, everyone dies.
this movie came out. What year was it?
Yeah,
86.
1986. So if you haven't seen it by now, also it's
Mm,
really hard to track down. So if you are in Australia and do want to give it a watch, because we're not in America where we can buy DVDs that people produce. There is a free version on YouTube to watch. So just type it in and it'll be there, the full movie,
I wonder if
and it's
that's
really really good
legally on
quality.
there. Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Well, it's
Uh,
better than illegally downloading it.
exactly. Which we frown upon hard here at
Definitely.
TerrorVision Horror Podcast. So now we got to work out quickly what's our homework for next week. We talked about what was it
I
earlier on in the
think we should check out Save the Green Planet.
but I'm not sure. Is that a horror?
I
So that
believe there is like it's like a cult sci-fi horror thriller.
okay? Because I haven't
I
seen
think
it, but I
there's a lot of I think there's a lot to it. I mean, we could always give it a watch and then we can have the discussion as to whether or not we do consider it to be a horror. Because I feel that there's a lot in it that is going to make it sort of broach that horror genre.
that is true. That is true. All
Mm.
right, so I reckon we could wrap it up now. That's our
Yeah,
first episode. We got through it, Jen. We did it.
we did. We did. And I'm only slightly terrified.
Nah, you're not terrified. Oh, so a little bit of housekeeping. So we are TerrorVision Horror Podcast. We are streaming to all podcast services out there. So you can find us on stuff like iTunes. You can find us on Soundcloud. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on Spotify. We also have an Instagram, which is at TerrorVision Pod. Basically everything that we do is at TerrorVision Pod, isn't it? I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I've tried to make it that way.
If you'd like to email us for any reason at all, we are terrorvisionpod@gmail.com. We will also probably be starting up a Discord once we get a little bit more of a following, and so you'll be able to probably join a Discord and we'll be able to talk about stuff in there. We later down the track as well, if everything goes smoothly, we will start up a Patreon if it goes good. If it doesn't, we probably won't. But
Yeah, well.
that's about it. Do you want to discuss anything else, Jen?
Ooh, I think that's it. I think we've had a jolly good chat. And yeah, like if you would like to, chime in on what you'd like us to talk about, by all means, contact us on anywhere really, Instagram, email, and yeah, we can look into some of your favorite horrors and
It's
go
true.
from there.
It is early days. We haven't set up all our
It
socials
is.
yet, but we will get
Yeah,
there. We need a catchphrase to end it with.
we do.
What does that say? Like, we have been TerrorVision Horror Podcast. What's that catchphrase? Quick, go, Jen.
Oh god. Doom to you all. I don't know.
Doom to you all.
Fucking hell.
Blood, gore, and blockbuster memberships be with you.